Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Math grade 7. Today we want to learn solve proportional relationships. Solve proportional relationships. How to use proportional to solve the problem. So this lesson today we want to use proportionals to solve problems. As you know, a proportion is an equivalent stating that two ratios or rates are equivalent. A proportion means is an equation stating that two ratios or rates are equivalent. And today we have the new idea, cross product or cross multiplication. Cross product. What's the meaning of cross product? The cross product of any proportion are equal. For example, we have here proportion. The proportion means equal between two ratios. We have here 3/4 equal 6/8. A cross product means take 6 and multiply by 4. 6 multiplied by 4. Then take 3, then multiply by 8. 3 multiplied by 8. So right here 3 multiplied by 8. 6 times 4 will be 24, and 3 times 8 will be 24. As you see, up and down has the same answer. This is the meaning of cross product. See with me now this video.
Welcome to 7RP2. This is goal number 2, and in this goal you are going to be working on representing proportional relationships in equations, and you are going to be able to identify the unit rate in tables, graphs, equations, diagrams, and verbal descriptions. So to get us started, let's talk about solving proportions. So proportional relationships are equations that state that two rates or ratios are equal. So it's an equation stating that two rates or ratios are equal. Here, 4:2, or maybe 4 bags of flour equals $2, and that is the same as saying 8 bags of flour is equal to $4. We know that these are equal. Essentially, our scale factor to get from 4 to 8 is essentially we're multiplying by 2, and we can say that that scale factor holds true for the bottom half as well. So sure, that works for these sort of proportions like this. This is a pretty easy proportion, and we would be able to solve for, if we did not know that 8 was there, we'd be able to solve for 8 pretty quickly. 2 to get to 4, for 2 to get to 4, we have to multiply it by 2, so 4 to get to whatever it needs to be, we'd have to multiply it by 2, and we get 8. Awesome. We can solve those without having to do anything sort of crazy. Well, every once in a while, you'll end up with some crazy numbers. We know the world does not always work in happy, peachy strawberry fields, and it's not always super easy for us to find proportions that work or that are pretty numbers. So that's why we're getting into decimals and fractions. So this property of proportions essentially helps us deal with those situations where we have products of numbers that are fractions and decimals. So in this case, what we can say is the cross products of a proportion are equal. And essentially what it's saying here is essentially if we have a proportion A over B, and we have another proportion that is C over D, if we were to multiply A times D, that should be equal to B times C. So essentially, let's actually try this. So we're essentially creating a big X, a big cross in everything. So let's try a couple of numbers. If we had 4:2, take that flour to dollar ratio, and we have the situation 8:4, essentially their cross products should be equal. So if I said 4 times 4, we have 4 times 4, that should be equal to 2 times 8. And 4 times 4, this equals 16, and that is equal to 16. So yes, this whole thing checks out. Essentially, we are multiplying 4 times 4, 4 times 4, and then 2 times 8. So we're making a big X out of everything. So let's try this concept with another problem. So our problem is this. We have number 1, b divided by 15 is equal to 66 divided by 90. So if we wanted to, we could totally do this with scale factor, and we could figure out how many times does 15 go into 90, and we'd find out that it's 6 times, and that would be phenomenal. Or, yeah, 6 times, and that would be phenomenal, and we'd multiply the top by 6 and the bottom by 6, or we'd divide by 6, or whatever we needed to do. But let's try to get away from that just briefly and try a new method. So instead of that, we're going to say 6 times 90, or b times 90 is equal to 15 times 66. And then from there, all we're doing is solving for this b. We're just trying to get this b all by itself. So what we're going to do is, let's do a little bit of math here. 15 times 66, we can do that math. It equals 990, and that is equal to 90 times b. And then after that, b is being multiplied by the 90, so we could divide by 90 from both sides. Divide by 90 on both sides, and we will get b is equal to 11. So there is our final answer. B is equal to 11. So essentially, we would then be able to replace this. We could say 11 is to 15 as 66 is to 90. And so we should see the same scale factor. To get from 15 to 90, we have to multiply it by 6. To get 11 to turn into 66, we have to multiply it by 6. So we have the same scale factor here, which is what we want. Let's try another problem. We have 6.8 over t is equal to 34 divided by 50. And so we're going to do the same exact thing, scale factor, or like cross products. We have 6.8 times 50, and that is equal to t times 34. So let's do some of this math. We have 6.8 times 50, and that gets us 340, and that is equal to t times 34. I have t times 34, so we need to divide by 34 to make everything equal. So 340 divided by 34 gets us 10, and that is equal to t. So there's our final answer, and we can actually put that in our original equation. We had 6.8 divided by 10, and that is equal to 34 divided by 50. And so we could actually see, okay, how do I get from 10 to 50? Well, I'd have to multiply by 5. And if I did 6.8 times 5, would I get 34? And I sure do. 6.8 times 5 is equal to 34. So this checks out and is perfect. One last problem, because you're going to have to actually make proportions out of word problems in this chapter. Ms. Drossick paid $30 for 4 students to visit an art museum. Find the cost for 18 students. So in this case, what's super duper helpful is we make sure that we create ratios that are going to make sense. We see one ratio here, $30 for 4 students. So we can write that as saying costs $30 for 4 students. We could develop a unit rate out of that, and we could say $30 divided by 4 students would get us a certain amount of money, and that unit rate can help us a lot. What we can also do is say this is equal to the cost, which we don't know. All right, and that is over 8 students. So we don't know how much 8 costs for, or 18 students, sorry. So we don't know how much that cost is. So we have a cost that we don't know, and I'm actually going to call this cost C. So it's a dollar we don't know, and how much is it going to cost for 18 students to visit said art museum. So at this point in time, we can actually do the cross product property. We have 30 times 18, and that is equal to 4 times C. And so also, I'm going to not move on very quickly, but if we look at this, here's one ratio, the cost for 4 people, and then we have another ratio, cost for 18 people. And what you also should notice right here, if we look horizontally, we have the people, and then if we look horizontally again at the higher rows, we have dollars. So you can see that everything's set up like dollars and people versus specific ratios that go with each other. Everything's lined up properly. I don't have essentially dollars on the bottom down here and people up top, and then people here and then dollars up top. We don't want that to happen because that actually will end up making more of a mess. So now let's continue on. We have 13 times 18, or 30 times 18, and that's equals to 4 times the cost. So 30 times 18, we need to do that math, and we get 540. And that is equal to 4 times the cost. And so now we're going to divide by 4 because we have a multiplication by 4. Divide by 4. And so we have divide by 4. And so that cost is going to be $135. This is how much it's going to be for 18 people. And actually, let's check this now with our unit rate. If we were taking 30 and dividing it by 40, or $30 divided by 4, we could find the unit rate of $7.50 per person. And that's pretty good. So essentially this $35 should essentially be 18 times that $7.50. And so if I were to multiply $7.50 by 18, I get $135. So this checks out. It's all set and ready to go. I hope this helps. Use this concept of cross products to work through the goal number 2 of
Okay, listen to me to this example. The question now, solve a problem using a proportion. We have this proportion. What's the meaning of proportion? Equal between 2 ratios. Equal between 2 ratios. When you have equal between 2 ratios, this is the first ratio and this is the second ratio. The name of this equal proportion. This is the meaning of proportion. What I do to find the value of D? Here we have the missing number, variable. What I do to know what is the value of D? Find the cross products. Find the cross products. Take 9, multiply by 4, equal, then take D, multiply by 10. So 9 times 4, 9 times 4, equal D times 10. D times 10. Now, as you see, we have equation. As you see here, we have equation. How to solve this equation? 9 times 4 will be 36. And D times 10 will be 10D. Now, how to find the value of D? Divide the two sides by the coefficient, by 10. So, 36 divide by 10, then 10D divide by 10. Now 10 divided by 10 will be 1, remains D here, and 36 divided by 10 will be 3.6, will be 3.6. I will repeat this example. Here we have proportion. What the meaning of proportion? Means equal between 2 ratios. Equal between 2 ratios. We want to find this problem. The problem here, how to know the value of D. Here we have missing value. We have variable. So the first step, find the cross products. Find the cross products. How? Take 9, multiply by 4, then take D, multiply by 10, then take D, multiply by 10. So I can write now 9 times 4, 9 times 4 equal 10 times D, 10 times D. As you see now, we have equation. How to solve this equation? How to solve this equation? We have here 9 times 4 equal 36. And the next side we have D multiplied by 10, I can write 10D, 10D. Now how to solve this equation? Take the number who multiply by the variable, the coefficient, and divide the two sides by the coefficient. Divide the two sides by the coefficient. Now 36 divide by 10 and 10d divide by 10. 10 divide by 10 will be d. 10 divide by 10 will be d. And 36 divide by 10 will be 3.6. 36 divided by 10 will be 3.6. The next example now. Solve a problem using a proportion. As you see here, we have proportion between two ratios, equal between two ratios. As you see, you have 2 over 34 equal 5 over y. Here we have missing value. We have variable. We want to solve this problem. What I do, the first step, find the cross product. So I can write 2 times y equal 5 times 34. 2 times y equal 5 times 34. Now 2 times y means 2y. 2 times y means 2y equal 5 times 34. 5 times 34. Now here we have 2y and here we have 34 times 5. 34 times 5 equal 170. Equal 170. How to solve this equation? Take the coefficient, then divide the two sides by the coefficient. So I can write 2y divide by 2 and 107 divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 will be 1, remains here y. Then 170 divided by 2 will be 85. 170 divided by 2 will be 85. Who has a question now? Who has a question? Where are you boys?
Mister, I have a question.
Mister, we're here. Mister, we're here.
No questions?
Mister, I have a question.
No, Mister. I have a question.
Ammar, tell me your question, please.
Mister, go back.
The first example or the second?
The second. How the 2y and 170 at the down 2y became down 2 and 170 also at the denominator 2.
Okay. This form 2y equal 107. This is equation. This we learned this equation last year. How to solve equation using division? Look to the number multiplied by the variable. This number, the name of this number, coefficient. The rule said take the coefficient and divide the two sides. By the coefficient. So I can write 2y divide by the coefficient, divide by 2. Then the second side I can write 170 divide the coefficient, divide by 2. Then 2 divided by 2 will be 1. Remains here y, and 170 divided by 2 will be 85.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay, thank you. Who has another question?
Mister, me. Mister, in example 1. I
What's
don't
your name?
understand it. محمد المعمري.
Okay. Example number 1.
ما فهمت أستاذ.
Okay. In this example, we have this proportion. We have d over 4. Equal 9 over 10. The first step, when you want to solve any problem using proportion, use a cross product. What's the meaning of cross product? Take the number up here 9, then multiply by the number down 4. Yani as you see here, take the number here 9, multiply by the number down 4. 9 times 4. Write it 9 times 4. Then equal. Then take d multiply by 10. D multiply by 10. So right here D multiply by 10. So cross a product like X, cross. This is the meaning of cross product. This is the meaning of cross product. 9 multiplied by 4, 9 multiplied by 4 equal D multiplied by 10. Now after the cross product, I find I have here equation. I have here equation. How to solve this equation? How to solve this equation? Find the product. 9 times 4, 9 times 4 will be 36. And d times 10, I can write 10d, 10d. Then now I have equation. To solve this equation, use division. How to solve this equation? Take the number, multiply by the variable, 10. What is the name of 10? Coefficient. Take coefficient, then divide the two sides of this equation by the coefficient, by 10. So take 36, divide by 10, then take 10d, divide by 10. Now, 10 divided by 10 equal 1. 10 divided by 10 equal 1. Remains here d. So write here d. Then write equal. Now, 36 divided by 10, 36 divided by 10 equal 3.6. 3.6. It's clear, Muhammad?
Yeah, it's clear, Ustad. Sure.
Okay. Welcome. Who has a question now?
No one, Mister. Thank you for your explanation.
Now prepare your notebook or any paper. We want to work together, please. Each pair of ratios form a proportion. Okay, boys, we have two ratios here, but I don't know. Is it the two ratios here proportion or not? I don't know. How to check? Take 2 multiply by 8. Take 2 multiply by 8. So I can write here 2 multiply by 8 and find the answer. 2 multiply by 8 will be 16. 10. Take 5 multiply by 3. Take 5 multiply by 3. 5 multiply by 3. And find the answer will be 15. Is it 16? I can write here
Mister, it's not non-proportional. It's non-proportional, Mister.
why?
Because the numbers don't match.
Great. So we have here a different answer, means we have a different ratio. So this is not equivalent ratio. So I don't have proportion here. So here non-proportion. Do you have any question here?
No,
Example.
Mister, we don't have a question.
Now I want from all to check now the two ratios here. Are the two ratios here proportion or not? I want from all to work. You have 2 minutes. Check please. And tell me the answer. Are the two ratios here proportion or not?
Mr. Proportion.
Yes.
Mr. Proportional.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. It's equivalent.
So Mr. is proportional.
Yes, great. Who has else? Who has another answer?
Professional.
Okay, let us to check together. Take 14 multiplied by 3. 14 multiplied by 3, 42. And it's 7 times 6. 7 times 6.
42, Mr.
40. So when you have the same answer, when you do the cross product and you get the same answer, means you have proportion here. Do you have any question?
No, Mr. We don't have a question.
Okay.
No, Mr.
Now the next question, solve each proportion here.
Mr.
No.
The third one is not non-proportional. The third one.
Here we have a problem. I want to solve this problem. I want to know what is the value of y. Take 2 minutes to find the value of y and tell me. You have 2 minutes. Yalla, start.
Mr. The value of y is 3.
Okay, Milad, thank you. Who has else?
Mr. The value is 3 and this is proportional.
No, I know I have proportional now.
The value, Mr. The value is 3.
Yes, thank you. Now already I have proportional, just I want to know how to find
The value of 3 also.
Yes. Okay, let us to check together. Yes, tell me.
Can I tell you? Mr. Can I tell you? Mr.
Okay.
Muhammad Mary, can I tell you?
Yes.
Mr. First, we will times 4 times 9. It will be 36. And 12 y, and we will do 36 divided by 12, and it will come for us 3. It will come for us 3.
Great. So,
Mr. I have another way to do it easily.
Okay. The first step, do a cross product. Take 4 multiplied by 9. 4 multiplied by 9 equal 12 times y equal 12y. Now 4 times 9 will be 36 equal 12y. Now I have equation. How to solve this equation? using division. How to solve this equation? Using division. Take the coefficient, the number who multiply by the variable. The coefficient here will be 12. Then divide the two sides of this equation by 12. Divide the two sides by 12. So right here, 36 now, divide by 12. In the next side here we have 12y, divide by 12. Okay. Now, 12 divided by 12 will be 1. Remains here y. Then, 36 divided by 12. 36 divided by 12 will be what? Will be 3. So, the value will be 3. Excellent for all. Excellent for all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Muhammad al-Ma'mari. And thank you, Mansour.
Mister, can I do it in my way?
Okay, the next one. Now we have this problem. I want from all to check. Tell me what is the value of C. What is the value of C?
Mister 12.
Thank you, Milad.
It's 12.
Mister, it's
What's your
12.
name?
Mister Milad is correct. It's 12.
Yeah.
Excellent, 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 Milad, excellent, Mansour, excellent for all.
Mister, it's
طيب. 12. طيب. How to know? Do a cross product. Take 4 multiplied by 18. 4 multiplied by 18 equal 6 times C means 6C. 6C. Now, how to solve this equation? Try to divide the two sides by the coefficient. Try to divide the two sides by the coefficient.
Hello, Mister. السلام عليكم أستاذ. أنا سالم فتاح.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. هلأ دخلت يا سالم؟ الحين دخلت الحصة يا سالم؟ متأخر كثير. طيب. So,
Mr. Muhammad, sorry, I left because my net connection wasn't working. Sorry.
no problem. So what I do here in this equation, take the coefficient 6, divide the first side by 6, and divide the next side by 6. Now, 4 times 18 will be 72, divide by 6, and 6C divide by 6. Now, 6 divided by 6 will be 1, remains here C, so C equal 72 divided by 6, 72 divided by 6 will be 12, So this is our lesson today. Who has any question now?
Mister, I don't have a question.
Mister, I have a question.
Yes, tell me. What's your name?
سالم. بس مستر أقدر أعيد الحصة، يعني أقدر أشوف الحصة يعني مرتين يعني أعيدها، يعني ما حضرت.
الحصة مسجلة. أنا بعت رسالة على الجروب امبارح إنه يرجى الالتزام بتوقيت الحصة، لأنه بيدخل بنصف الحصة وبآخرها ما عاد يفهم شيء من الحصة. فبدك تكون متواجد معي من بدايه الحصه لحتى تفهم الدرس. فالحصه مسجله، انا راح بتلاقيها على المايكروسوفت تيمز، وبرجع انا برسلها على الجروب، فبتقدر تحضرها مره واثنين وثلاثه.
استاذ في حدا طلعني.
ونحن يوم الخميس ان شاء الله عندنا مراجعه، فانت دروس
لا ما طلعك.
كل الدروس اللي اخذناها هذا الاسبوع رجاء من الجميع يرجعوا يدرسوها ويكتبوا لي شو في عندهم اسئله او ملاحظات، يوم الخميس بنعالجها ان شاء الله. لا ما حدا بيقدر يطالع حدا، بس في مشكله كان في النت ورجع، ما حدا بيقدر يطالع حدا. تمام. طيب في اي سؤال الان؟
استاذ لما طلعني كتب لي someone kicked you out.
ابني ما حدا بيقدر يطالع، كان في مشكله النت، وصل النت. في مشكله الان؟ في سؤال؟
لا استاذ.
خلونا ناخذ التفقد.
استاذ عادي تبدا من 7 بي.
الحصه الثاني احمد موجود؟
لا أستاذ أنا موجود.
مستر في ناس يقدرون يطردون لأن في بعضهم برزنتر.
ما حدا بيقدر يطلب حدا، انا عامل الاعدادات، ما حدا يقدر يطلب حدا.
استاذ شوف في برزنتر.
أستاذ أنا موجود. بدك تعلق.
محمد سعيد موجود؟
أستاذ
ايه
الحصة
مستر موجود.
أستاذ أنا موجود.
مستر حمد سعيد موجود.
حمدان العامري موجود؟ حمدان الهجري
موجود.
زايد هذا هداف الله يرضى عليك. عليك الدرس.
مستر حطيتني أبسنت.
لا حضور. عبد الرحمن موجود؟ عبد الله مانع؟ علي الرميثي
موجود مستر.
لا.
مستر الحين أقدر أطلع من الحصة؟
اللي طلع اسمه بإمكانه يطلع. فلاح؟
نعم أستاذ موجود مستر.
أحمد؟
موجود أستاذ موجود.
دكتور راشد؟
موجود.
دكتور نايف؟ بلاد موجود؟ وهزاع؟
مستر منصور نايف موجود.
موجود مستر.
مستر أنت ما قلت عبد الله التميمي.
نعم.
مستر ما قلت عبد الله التميمي.
عبد الله التميمي اتصور بالشعب الثاني.
محمد موجود.
ماشي. خلفان؟
موجود.
خليفة؟ دويس؟
حاضر.
سالم جمعة؟
حاضر أستاذ.
سلطان؟
حاضر أستاذ.
سالم؟ سيف؟
موجود أنا أستاذ موجود.
عبد الله محمد الجابري؟
موجود أنا أستاذ. أستاذ نقدر نطلع؟
اللي طلع اسمه بيقدر يطلع. فارس؟ طيب محمد سالم الراشدي؟
موجود أستاذ موجود.
موجود. محمد عمار موجود. طيب محمد عمر العامري؟ محمد عمر؟ منصور علي؟
موجود.
موسى؟ عبد الله
محمد المعماري موجود استاذ. محمد المعماري موجود.
اوكي محمد. عبد الله التميمي؟
أستاذ ما قلت اسمي.
شو اسمك؟
منصور محمد.
منصور محمد موجود.
يلا مع السلامة أستاذ.
طيب This is our lesson today. Thank you for your listening. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.